All right, what's going on, gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. So this is a new style. I'm going to do a PowerPoint for you guys. But in usual style, you see the title below. You see the title on this PowerPoint. Let's dive right in. So why you can't afford to be overweight as a man. So I don't think a lot of people understand kind of the importance when it comes to just being lean, especially as a man. But in today's video, I'm basically going to be breaking down to you in terms of those reasons and why you should kind of emphasize really taking your health and fitness serious. So most people don't realize how much their body fat is holding them back. It's not just about the looks or being overweight. It's like being overweight is literally going against your hormones, your energy, your confidence, whether even in your relationships. But down the line, guys, you really don't want to wait and find out and have things really be an issue to something that you can take care of early on. So in this photo in the right here, this is one of my past clients who I was basically just checking in on as usual with all my guys, seeing how they are in terms of their progress. And we can just read this message right here, and he basically replied back with just everything's going great. Everyone's now seeing the changes. People are asking me how he did it, the classic, and, him even maintaining, even gaining muscle, which we want at the end of the day. We don't want to worry about, we can't be just worrying about the weight going down. It's also about keeping the muscle. So we're essentially wanting to burn the fat. But going back to this point, people's been telling him his shoulders looking bigger, and he's like, I think this might have been like 1 or 2 days before check-in. So we're about to see where he was at. But basically, he was entering that 220 zone, which he hadn't been in 2 years, guys. 2 years. So just imagine that could be you as well when he starts taking shit serious. But going on to the next text, he's been throwing away his old clothes, getting rid of 50% of his clothes. Now, I know you guys are thinking, well, I thought you just told us it's not about the looks and all that stuff. Now, let's read this next text. Such a great feeling to walk out the house with confidence. Keyword, guys, confidence. Even if he's not there yet to the desired goal that we talked about within the program, but even catching some eyes, you know what I'm saying? Even before not entirely where he's at, but obviously heading towards being ripped, understanding that there's still a ton of progress to go. But it's essentially, this is a whole different person. His energy is different. You can tell throughout the text, because someone who is happy with the results they're getting doesn't send out a long paragraph like this. This isn't even just to toot my own horn. I'm just saying in general, guys, when you actually feel good about yourself, you speak from a sense of pride. You're like, as you should be. You should be proud of the progress you made. You should, and and the only way you're going to operate in that sense is through your energy, is through building confidence, which you gain by taking the necessary steps to get there. But let me tell you how, when that doesn't happen when you don't prioritize being lean and not understanding the importance of being lean. So that's the only way you're going to achieve that, guys. It's not only looks, but this comes to hormones, which will come to my next point here. My first point that I want to bring up. Let me just move this aside a little bit. But first point I want to get across here is why being lean is so important, especially when it comes to your health and hormones, right? When you carry too much fat on your body starts to produce more estrogen. Estrogen, guys, a female hormone. Basically, you're being a bitch. You have bitch energy inside of you, the more fat that you hold within your body. So at the same time, while producing more estrogen, your testosterone, the hormone that actually drives us as men when it comes to energy, when it comes to confidence, when it comes to masculinity as a whole, that shit starts to plummet. So higher estrogens leads to mood swings, water retention, and fat storage in your chest, hips, and it lowers your sex drive, guys. So for the fellas who are in a relationship, that doesn't sound too fucking pleasing. It doesn't sound too promising to your lady, because she's going to sense that shit, especially in the bedroom, to a point where you don't even want to you can't even satisfy her in that need. And if you're already having mood swings, you're moving in the energy of your partner. But let's say you don't even have a partner. That's probably even worse, guys, because life as a man is already hard enough. So imagine going through it, being fat, having higher estrogen, having mood swings. But every day as a man, you're challenged through your energy, through your confidence, all that every single day, guys. It's not just 1 week you're good, and then the next everyone just treats you like shit. No, it's you have to show up for yourself every single day. And when you can't perform at that high level, I probably said it in previous videos, but the world will always rank you. The world will always rank you. So when you're not performing at your highest, you're ranked all the way at the bottom, basically invisible. But obviously, going back to the next points, yeah, lower estrogen leads to low energy, no motivation, no fire to attack your goals. Pretty self-explanatory. But then when you're lean, your testosterone starts to rise, estrogen starts to drop, your body runs at full capacity, which is what we want to strive for, guys, on a daily. So you look at these pictures on the left compared to the right, being lean. I can tell you through experience that energy-wise, motivation-wise, and no sense of direction and purpose, that's exactly what you're gonna get. The picture on the left. That's exactly what you're gonna get because I experienced that shit myself. Whereas compared to the right picture, lean, muscular, sharp, every day with a purpose, going after my goals on the daily, making sure I'm eating my meals every day, not just active days in the gym, rest days as well. So while you guys are out here busy partying and shit like that, thinking that 5 days a week is gonna cut it. No, this requires everyday dedication. Every freaking day. So let's go on to my next point. So over here, another point I want to bring upon the importance of being lean is not only energy, but I like to truly emphasize energy, longevity, and health. So extra fat drains your energy, makes your daily movements harder, and it disrupts sleep. So like having a higher body fat drives insulin resistance, high blood pressure, and inflammation, which puts you at risk for diabetes, heart disease, and slower recovery. Guys, I can't stress enough. If you're not getting at least 6 hours of sleep, 6 hours minimum of sleep, you're gonna feel that shit the next day. And that extra fat is definitely going to drain your energy. And the more you gain it, the more that energy tends to plummet. And especially with daily movement, guys, you guys don't realize when you're not active, you got fat draining your energy, and you're not even getting good enough rest. Guys, you won't even be able to climb up a flight of stairs. A flight of stairs. You're gassed at the top of not even you're halfway, maybe even a quarter. So halfway, a quarter way, and you're already gassed, huffing and puffing. And especially when it comes to just having insulin resistance, high blood pressure, inflammation, which each and every single client from the first week, once they actually have a structured meal plan that they can actually stick to, it's always the first week where we get rid of that water weight, where we get rid of the inflammation, because that's what most of you guys are holding. But it's key to understand this now, so then we don't put ourselves at risk, especially when it comes to having diabetes. So when you're a lean man, you stay energized, you stay focused, you stay sharp, just like that picture above. And not only that, guys, you live longer with a better bottom line. Being lean in general is basically keeping your ass alive for longer and actually able to live life to the fullest, even later on as we age, guys. So let's go to our next point right here. So social dynamics and relationships, right? So now let's talk about how people treat you. In reality, most men ignore people they don't respect. That's just the bottom line. Like a man who is disciplined and in shape is always going to get respect from other men. That's point blank. Earlier, I was actually on a live call, with a person of high status, I would say. And I can even tell throughout that conversation that I had with him, which was a very good one. I could tell you can just, not only for me coming on there with admiration of the level that this certain individual is at, but also with me understanding the stages I had to go through in my life and all that stuff. But the reason why I bring this up to begin with, guys, is just the level of treatment, the level of respect. You can feel that. Everyone can feel that in all stages. So when you're fat and your confidence is lower, you start moving slower, and people pick up on that. Is what I'm trying to get to. What I'm trying to get at. People will pick up on that. So going back to that conversation I had with that individual, it's like there's already a level of degree of respect even before words are exchanged, and that is automatic through your appearance, guys, through being lean compared to being fat. So it's like, not only for, let's say, that example, but let's just say even your wife, girlfriend, or anyone you interact with on the day to day. That level of confidence when you're fat compared to lean, it's night and day. But everyone picks up on it even before you speak. So the truth, especially when it comes to your wife, girlfriend, and the opposite sex, women are biologically drawn to men who look like protectors. When you're lean, your partner notices. Suddenly, she's more attractive. Suddenly, right? Because you think that operating at your best self would do the opposite. Some people think that, and they just live off their life, staying fat, staying mediocre. But going back to the point, suddenly they're more interested in you. Crazy how that works. You'll feel the shift instantly. You bet your ass you will, because going off years being mistreated to all of a sudden, once you're lean, you instantly notice it's a night and day difference, guys. It straight up is. And let me tell you something, your your energy definitely goes up, especially when it comes to your libido. Because guys, if you find yourself, especially if you're in a relationship and you have lower energy and your sex drive plummets, best believe the times that you're saying, not right now, sweetie, sorry, that shit goes on for months, years. Just know if it's years, you're getting cheated on. I'm sorry to say it, you are. Because you guys don't realize how important that shit is, but it's so fucking important. So when it comes to libido, man, oh man, oh my shit was shot up. My shit is shot up when I'm lean. And some of y'all be having some gooning problems, bro. That can't be me. But the reason why I can relate to that, right, is going off these pictures right here, right? So on the left side, both sides, basically, probably there was a picture earlier. I would say that one was the most out of shape I've been, but this was a close second. Now, the reason why I bring this upon these pictures right here, right? On that left side, shirtless. I was in a relationship, guys. I was straight up in a relationship in that picture right there. Now, let me tell you something. I thought I would never experience this, and I don't even give a fuck sharing this shit. But when it came to sex, guys, no, straight up, that was probably the most unconfident I ever been when it came to that performance. Straight up, my shit was at all. No, no, I would say, in the sense of that, in that scenario, yeah, I would say I was my level, my sex drive was probably at an all time low. Barely was ready. Didn't last long. Straight up, I don't care. I don't give a shit saying this. Bro, clip this. I don't give a fuck. That was just the truth. But that's the truth for a lot of people. Maybe you watching this right now, being fat, having fat stored in your body, having low energy. That shit will hurt you in relationships, guys. Because I can tell you, during that relationship, it taught me so much in terms of how people treated you when I was like that. Because guys, keep in mind, I've been in shape before that. I've been in shape before that. Even in relationships that I had before, I was in shape. But I'm telling you, this relationship right here and being like that on that picture right there, it showed me a lot about human nature, let alone the effects it had in that relationship. There was a lot more problems that occurred. There was a lot more problems that occurred. Sex wasn't great. So that within itself is already frustration to her, more than me. Because guys don't give a shit about that, but it actually matters. But also the level of treatment, guys. Guys, the disrespect I took being in that shape right there, compared to the figure on the right, compared to the face and how I carried myself at the bottom right picture right there. It's a night and day difference, guys. And let me tell you something. You better be working towards being on that right side of these photos that you see when it comes to a relationship, when it comes to your business, when it comes to anything that you do in life. Because if you stay on that left side, unmotivated, lazy, low energy, you will forever play life on hard mode. Let me just tell you that. You will forever play life on hard mode each and every single day, and the world will remind you every single day, the moment you wake up. The moment you wake up. So let's go to our fourth point here. The differences between active, and when I say active, it's not just walking or hopping on a treadmill, guys. The difference between people who actually take action, who are active in this pursuit of being lean, compared to inactive. The active men carry themselves with a certain discipline and confidence, and people will notice that immediately. When you're inactive, when you don't bother to care about any of this information that's being told, you move slower, you lack drive, you lack purpose, bro. You'll be in the background. You won't be seen. You will straight up be a background character. As they say, NPC. That will be you. And you will have no drive. Because how could you? How could you even operate in a sense of urgency, being that your energy is at all-time low constantly? How could you? So when I stress the importance of this, I want you guys to understand fitness gives you that edge, that higher energy, that stronger presence, that sharper focus when it comes to your work, to your everyday work and life. Being lean shows that you're a man in control, not just through your body, guys, but your habits. You can tell a level of a man just based off his habits. I say this to amongst peers and stuff like that, but most of the time, guys, you just have to sit back and observe to really know the measure of someone. Don't listen to what they say. Don't listen to what they promise. Just really sit back and observe. And that'll tell you all you need to know. So in the reality, if you want to be active and actually pursue this goal, I'd highly recommend it, because you'll be the individual that leads. Or you take this info, you say, fuck it, I'm not going to take it serious, and just settle. Just settle for the mediocre life that you have right now. Now let's go to this picture right here. This is another client of mine, basically checking up on him as well. And yeah, basically, he was staying on point of it. I was saying, like, we're locked in right now. He was somewhere around 350, 340 pounds, and he was dropping around to like 280, 270. We're hit around that mark. So you did some work. So we're just joking around here, talking about the classic song, Mike Jones. Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot, they all want me. You know what I'm saying? So he's older than me, so he already got the gist. I was the youngin in that case, but basically with his case, right? And I remember him, and I specifically chose this client for a reason, not only through the messaging, and getting a bunch of messages and compliments as usual when you go through my program, but like I always tell my every client, it's just the beginning, especially after a win and all that stuff. Congratulate them shortly, but always more work to do, right? But specifically with him, I remember, and this is why I bring up this slide here in terms of being active and being inactive. I remember the certain gym that he was going to, right? He told me, even while he was telling me, even with certain females over there, in terms of the gym he was going at, he told me when he started making progress, when he started putting in that work, the woman who would even pay him no mind, no attention, came up to him, started conversations with him. Keep in mind, he's been going there for a minute. Never a conversation in sight. Never. And as soon as he started to be that active, and as soon as he started to take action within himself, carry himself with discipline, going towards being lean and understanding the importance, not only through the looks, but how his energy. This individual was working construction while having a side hustle in terms of photography. And throughout the program, not only with compliments, not only with the way he carried himself, especially when it came to work, but also within his craft when it came to photography, getting opportunities left and right and throughout the program, to figures like Bobby Flay, to figures like G-Eazy. And I don't care if you guys don't think they're big time, all that stuff. The point is, he got himself opportunities, and he was leveling up within his craft, let alone his work. And all that takes energy, guys. All that takes energy, traveling. But he already had the discipline to stick to his diet because he had a goal. He didn't stay inactive. He became an active individual with everything that he does, with his family, with his work, with his side hustle, all that because he understood the importance of being lean. And I hope you guys can do the same. I hope you guys can take this video and stop fucking around, because it's not only just about looks, guys. This shit can really have long-term benefits in terms of your health, especially when it comes to you having a family, especially when it comes to being a man in this day and age where we have to perform at our all-time high, not just a week, not just a month, every day, 24/7. For anyone who's new in the channel, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, as I'll be dropping in more games in terms of fitness and other aspects in life. But until then, see you later.